Hi everyone, I wanted to provide a little bit more explanation about Deliverable 2, what's expected and how to approach it to try to address any confusion before you dive into it in earnest. So we're building off what you did in Deliverable 1, where you created a user persona after interviewing people, and your user persona probably looked something like this. This is one of the examples that I provided earlier in the Deliverable 1 folder. And what this deliverable did is it described the consumer sort of in general, gave a sense of who they are as a person. It addressed the decision, the consumer decision that they're going to make, but at a very high level. So here we have cross-trained Krista, and her eventual goal is to run a marathon. And the decision that she's going to make has to do with cycle bar, but we'll come back to that in a second. So she's looking for something to do for cross-training purposes. She has a hazy idea about what she might want to do. And what this persona does is it makes her, cross-trained Krista, more concrete, gives a little bit more background so that you can start to empathize with her when she walks through this decision journey. So that was Deliverable 1. Now with Deliverable 2, you're going to take that persona and describe the steps in their process as they make the decision that you chose for your project. So here, with cross-trained Krista, she's going to be making a decision about trying cycle bar. Now, some of you guys chose the decision to buy an iPhone or the decision to buy AirPods, something along those lines. So you created a persona who is now in Deliverable 2 going to walk through the steps of this process. So you want to look back at the interviews that you conducted at the beginning of the course, and you're going to look for commonalities. So what was it that triggered their need to make this purchase? So we talked about problem recognition in the consumer decision journey in the context of your reading. So you get a sense that it's this discrepancy between the desired state and the ideal state. Also start to think about what were some of the touch points in that journey. So decided they maybe something broke in the past or in the recent weeks and they needed to buy something new. Maybe they went to the store to seek out information. This is the information seeking step. Maybe they looked online. Maybe they asked friends for recommendations. These are all different steps in the journey to actually making the decision. So let's look at an example of what a decision journey map might look like. And this is, again, included in the folder of additional material. So here we have cross-trained Krista. Up here at the top, we have the different steps that she walks through. So this is a linear chronological sequence here. She learns about cycle bar, signs up for her class, has her first class, and then buys a membership. And then here, along this y-axis, we break down these steps in more detail. And we want to think about the goals at each step. So when she's learning about cycle bar, is this something that is going to meet her need to have a reliable cross-training activity? Then when she's actually considering it, her goal is to figure out, okay, is this something that could fit into her schedule? Then her goal when she's trying it is something different altogether as well. So we're breaking down this overall macro goal into the steps that consumers encounter and the minor, the sub-goals that consumers are trying to meet. Here with the process, this is more the landscape of action. What is she actually doing physically? She downloads an app, she actually goes to the course, so we can imagine this unfolding almost like a story. Problems are important. So these are also known as pain points. So in each step in the way, what are some of the things that that Krista encounters that impedes her progress towards the accomplishment of her sub-goal? And this is going to be really important for later on because these are the things that you're going to want to address when you're giving recommendations to marketers who work in this industry. So anytime a consumer encounters friction, that's something bad, right? We want to stop that. We want to solve that so they can move seamlessly to the next step. So identifying pain points is going to be really something important for you to think about. Something I didn't mention, but up here, this process and channels, thinking about where consumers access information or where they engage in the activity, that's going to be important too. So if consumers first become aware of different types of courses on the website, that's going to suggest that we need to put information there. If they become aware of information from friends, then we might want to come up with some sort of word of mouth campaign. So understanding the channels where consumers are accessing information is also going to guide some of our recommendations. Okay, and then this is something I want to emphasize down here at the bottom, ideas and opportunities. These are opportunities for marketers. So here, for example, Krista has the opportunity to indicate that this is her first cycle bar class. She receives instructions about what to bring to the class and what to expect. So opportunities for marketers to reduce any kind of trepidation that Krista has about the course, opportunities to make the experience more seamless for her. Here with trial, the sales representative has an opportunity to welcome Krista and allay any of her fears. So opportunities, so when we're training our selling team, we're going to say, all right, for the people who are having their first class, you're going to want to pay special attention to them, etc. So these are going to be ideas and opportunities that can be executed to make the consumer journey easier. So let's look at an example of what not to do. I don't want to pick on anyone here, but this is an example of an assignment that was turned in previously, and you can already see here it's not completely filled out. So substage title is left blank. These different fields are left blank. You can customize the template. Please feel free to do so, but delete the fields that you're not using, right? Okay, and so here in process, we do have some description of the activities that the persona is engaging in, but they're not very concrete or specific. So discovering the brands, what does that mean? Hearing about the product, seeing the feedback. It's worse to give a lot of abstract text and not explain it fully, rather than to focus on one or two of these that are really the most important and flesh them out. I do want to also say, though, you don't want to put too much information. It should not be very visually unwieldy. The whole point is for these to be easily digestible journey maps that someone can look at and understand within maybe 5 minutes. All right, so also here, problems. Lack of social media presence. Okay, so that's a good problem, but we could make it more specific, right? So maybe this persona looks on her favorite social media sites like Instagram and doesn't see them there. Negative feedback. What does that mean? So you could be more specific about that. So with negative feedback, that could mean it was too expensive, or other consumers didn't derive value from it, or just again, specificity is key here. And here with the experience, we see the emotions that are listed, and those are good, but we also want this wave, right? So interest is a relatively higher emotion, vigilance might be a little bit lower, admiration might be higher, pensiveness might be lower. So in addition to visualizing these emotions better, I would also say that these emotions don't necessarily map on directly to the process. So if you're going to use this field here, the emotional experience, so when the consumer is first looking for information and maybe feels overwhelmed, this is a place where you could say overwhelmed, but just putting in random emotions doesn't really add to the quality of your product. And then finally here you can see ideas and opportunities. This particular student didn't really understand what this field was. We've got some quotes here. Again, like I mentioned when looking at the other decision journey map, these are ideas and opportunities for marketers, or for ways to improve the decision journey, or reasons why this journey was particularly good. So I hope that answers some of your questions. If you have any additional questions, please email me, please send me a text message. I will get back to you momentarily. No question is too small, and I look forward to seeing what you guys generate.